What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Footy with an Edge. Manchester United have finally done it. We finally managed to win a game comfortably from basically minute 0 to minute 90, and we've kept a clean sheet while doing it. I actually cannot remember the last time we had a performance like this, going all the way back to Ten Hag's first season, I think, where we used to keep a lot of clean sheets and win games 1 or 2-0. So tons and tons of positives to take from this game, like Lomans looking like prime De Gea with some great reaction saves and a save with his foot in the 90th minute to keep the clean sheet intact. We also had Amad Diallo putting in what was his best performance in a United shirt since signing his new contract in January 2025, and also Benjamin Šeško, who scored his second goal for United in his 4th Premier League start. He looked really calm and composed on the ball, and he was also a threat in both boxes, and his physicality in general really came to the fore today with everything he did. But our focus for today's video is the excellent contributions from Mason Mount, who was easily my man of the match today, but I specifically want to show you guys how he on the left and Bryan Mbeumo on the right unlocked this Ruben Amorim system to function in its best possible form. I have lots of clips to go through from various parts of the first 65 minutes when Mount was still on the pitch, so please make sure you stay till the end of the video. Before we get started though, I just want to give a special shout out to a viewer named Ali who was kind enough to show his appreciation by buying me a coffee. It means a lot to me when you guys just like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but contributions like these help me create better and better content for you guys over time. So if you'd like to support the channel directly just like Ali, please check the Streamlabs link in the description below, and I'll be sure to give you a similar shout out in my next video. There's obviously been a lot of talk about Amorim's system being crap and how it's not really getting the best out of the players and how he should be adapting to the players that we have. And I've been trying to tell you that the system itself is not really bad, but that our players have been executing it poorly, which has meant that we're not actually looking as fluid as we should be. You add to this the fact that we've been making individual defensive mistakes, and you get to the point where we have 2 wins, 1 draw, and 3 losses in the league before today's game. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you guys with my assessment of our players leading up to this game. I think Amad Diallo has not been good enough this season, and he also hasn't been consistent enough this season, because I've seen him in so many games struggle to make the simple passes and have the right communication or link up with the players he plays around, whether that's with Mbeumo at the right wing back or with Dorgu when he plays in the left 10 spot. And while Bryan Mbeumo has been our best attacking player by far this season, he has also struggled at times to find the necessary rhythm, where we've seen him overhit and underhit passes, we've seen him mistime his runs sometimes, and he also at times has made the same exact run as Amad, which has meant, confusion in our attack. And when we look at Matheus Cunha, we have some of the same problems, with him shooting instead of passing and passing instead of shooting at times. So these 3 guys struggling to find their position in different phases of build-up has also made Šeško look poor, because let's face it, we haven't been putting him in a position to succeed nearly as often as we should be. Hey there. Over the last 2 years, this channel has received more than 3 million views thanks to your amazing support. But did you know that less than 17% of viewers are actually subscribed to the channel? If you could please hit the like button on this video and smash that subscribe button, it would truly mean the world to me. In this game, however, I saw some things, particularly in the middle phase of build-up, that really caught my eye, and we've got a clip here to show you exactly that. We start with De Ligt here on the ball in the 11th minute, who's about to pass it out to Shaw on his left, who you can't see off screen. As he does that, pay close attention to the bottom left corner of your screen right around here, where we'll see Mount dropping deep in a second. So as De Ligt is about to make this pass, he plays it out to Shaw, and you'll see Mount just appearing on the bottom left of your screen right here next to my face. As we play it a bit further, Shaw plays out that pass to Mount, and I'm going to move my mouse here, and you'll see how deep Mount has actually dropped to receive that ball. he is quite literally in the left wingback position here with Casemiro up ahead in front of him. Now, if we take a look at that exact screenshot on the tactics board instead, Mount has dropped into this left wingback spot, and Sunderland are marking our back three man for man with Traore, Isidore, and Adingra. Lafay, who's their starting cam, is forced to mark Casemiro in the middle here, and Xhaka is left with the decision to either mark Mount in this position here, come up to him and press him up here, or mark Bruno, who's actually moved into this spot, interchanging with Mount. So Bruno has found himself in this pocket of space where Hume and Mukiele have to now deal with him instead of dealing with Mount. So just by Mount dropping deep into this position from his starting position of the 10, he has caused Sunderland to problem solve on the fly and put them in a position where they could make defensive mistakes. Now, taking you guys back to the clip, we see Mount playing the ball forward into Dalot, who's retreating, and we see Xhaka marking Mount here, and Casemiro just up ahead of him. And as we play it forward just a little bit, we see that Casemiro has played it back into Mount in that same left wing back position, and Dalot is now in the inside half space, which means Bruno is still hugging the touchline up further ahead of him, and Sunderland have so many decisions to make in the space of 5 seconds. So Mount actually looks up ahead, assesses his options, while Dalot's making this run, which causes problems for Hume and Mukiele, because again, whose man is he now? And Mount plays that pass back into Shaw's feet at the back, and as Mount runs forward, this is the first time we see Bruno emerging into the play. He's coming back from the touchline into his normal position, while the ball is being recycled back to De Ligt here. So now, as De Ligt gets it to his feet, we see him taking a touch, and he's looking up to see his options, and guess what? He decides he's going to play a long pass, and who's he playing it to? He fires it straight forward for a Mason Mount who's running between Hume and Mukiele, who have had to swap between marking 3 different players in the space of about 15 seconds. Mount, Bruno, and Dalot. So they have no idea what they're doing, and in the space between the two of them, Mount's making this run, but unfortunately De Ligt's pass is a little bit overhit. So imagine what it's like to play against this Amorim system where these 3 players are executing their movements well, and you have to organize against this 10, 15, 20 times a game. You're bound to make at least 1 or 2 mistakes. Next, we're going to look at Mbeumo doing very similar work on the right-hand side, and we start with De Ligt on the ball again in the 22nd minute, and you see Sunderland's front 4 here of Lafay, Isidore, Adingra, and Traore trying to mark this space here and ready to initiate the press. As we play along, Lafay initiates the press, but because we have Ahmad here being super high and wide at the top of your screen, just like Dalot was on the left in the previous clip, Adingra is not sure whether he needs to, go close to Ahmad or he needs to go close to Euro, because he has to be ready to press either one of them depending on who the ball goes to. So as De Ligt turns around with the press initiated against him, he obviously passes it to Euro, and we see Adingra initiating the press. But because it's taking him so long to get here, the space for Ahmad is growing larger and larger by the second. But more importantly, notice where Mbeumo is. He's in the inside half space near the center circle, about to drop even deeper. So that means Siddiqui has to follow him into this spot here, which creates a massive pocket of space between their midfield and their defense. So as Euro gets pressed, he gets ready to play this into Mbeumo's feet. Look at how deep he's come here to pick it up, and look at how much space that creates in the middle third for United against Sunderland. And I want you guys to pay attention to a subtle difference between what Mbeumo does on the right and what Mount did on the left in the previous clip. Because Mbeumo doesn't have Casemiro to interchange with him and run in beyond like Bruno did with Mount. So he can't really form a triangle in this area with the midfielder running past him, which means his triangle is formed with Euro, and it is in this shape here. So the best he can hope for is both Ahmad and Euro being wide closer to the touchline, and him having to be the inside point of that triangle closer to the center circle. As we play this along, Mbeumo rolls Siddiqui with ease and drives forward, and Ahmad is still holding that width. Just look at the kind of space and chaos this creates in Sunderland's shape. There are big gaps between the left DM and the left back, and there are big gaps between the left back and the center back. So Sunderland are really panicking, in a sense, in their defensive shape. And it's pretty much up to Mbeumo and Ahmad to do whatever they want, because they are pretty much 2-on-2 here. Now, as we skip forward a bit, We get to Ahmad at the edge of the box here, and Siddiqui has dropped deep towards the edge of the box to help Masuaku with the one-on-one because Ahmad is actually closest to the goal, which means he's the bigger threat. So Ahmad chops back and plays the ball back into Mbeumo here, and that leaves him enough space to fire a shot that Roofs has to save, and we get a corner from it. Again, this whole play, starting with Mbeumo dropping so far deep, is an example of Amorim's system looking really good because the players have executed their movement and their passing really well. On another day, Mbeumo either scores that shot or he plays it back into Ahmad in this area for an assist. So we need to stay patient for the players to actually learn how to execute the system very well. And I actually don't think it's that complicated. It's just a matter of figuring it out. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is how Amorim's first phase of build-up from his Sporting days is taking shape at United. At Sporting, Amorim always liked to have his left and right centre-backs be the most involved in the first phase of build-up because he liked them to split into a two centre-back position with the central centre-back moving forward in midfield to create kind of like a diamond shape with the goalkeeper. Now here, you can see almost the exact same thing with Yoro as the right centre-back, Bruno as the left centre-back because this is us recovering from a corner, and De Ligt is kind of in central midfield here. As we skip it forward a bit, Lomans is waiting for Isidore to press him in this area, which then triggers De Ligt to drop deeper, as you can see here, and collect the ball in this area. And while you can't see Bruno, as De Ligt is about to play this ball out, we are exactly in that diamond shape that Amorim wants. With this one triangle available here, another triangle with Bruno available, and a diamond shape formed with the four of them. Now, as De Ligt plays it out to Yoro, Yoro is completely free because, again, Adingra is just starting to step up with his press away from Ahmad. You'll see Adingra appear on screen here. And as Yoro gets pressed, he takes slightly a loose touch there. And while he's about to play it out to Casemiro, again, you have Siddiqui stuck between Mbeumo and Casemiro, not knowing which person to mark. And in this split second here, you can literally see three Sunderland midfielders being basically useless because they're not marking anybody and a ball over the top completely bypasses them. So Casemiro receives the ball, Siddiqui presses him, and he finds an easy pass into Bruno in the midfield, who's ready to play this first time into Mbeumo here. And I want to pause and help you guys capture this all in, because Sunderland has 7 freaking players in United's half, and they haven't been able to lay a finger yet on De Ligt, on Yoro, on Casemiro, or Bruno. And in trying to press Mbeumo here with that 7th player, they're about to dig themselves further and further into a hole, a bit like continuing to bet big on a bad hand in poker. Now, unfortunately, as the ball comes into Mbeumo, he gets fouled, but this is literally the best thing Sunderland can do here, because if Alderete doesn't foul Mbeumo and he rolls him just like we saw in the previous clip, 7 of Sunderland's 10 players are completely out of the game, and it's as good as a goal for United because it's going to be big spaces for us to run into. This kind of compression here of the opposition team into central areas is exactly what Amorim's system was great at doing for Sporting. And this is exactly how they beat City 4-1 in the Champions League and did so well in the 4 or 5 seasons that he was there. Amorim's plan is to get the opposition to overcommit with the press in the defensive and middle thirds, which creates extra space for the wingbacks on both sides, in this case Diallo and Dalot, and it creates space for the striker and the other 10, which is Šeško and Mount in this case. I want to see exactly more of this happening against Liverpool because they are masters of pressing high, and if we can force them to make these errors, we have a real chance to win that game. My last big takeaway from that game is that Mason Mount is giving Matheus Cunha a run for his money. Because there were some things that Mount did just as well as Cunha does, but also some things that Mount did much better than Cunha does. As a United fan, it's not about being player FC and saying Mount is better than Cunha, but just about being happy that we now have 2 really good players competing for that left 10 spot, which should ideally elevate both of their games. This is a clip now from the Mount goal in the 8th minute of that game, and you see Diallo here on the right touchline with Mbeumo just up ahead of him, and you can see Mount here in the middle with the number 7 shirt. I want you guys to pay close attention to his movement throughout. As we played along, Mbeumo makes that in to out run while Ahmad makes the out to in run at the same time. And this creates a massive pocket of space in behind for Mbeumo while he's still onside. So sure enough, Ahmad cuts back and plays the ball into Mbeumo. And you can see Mount here, he's still in a very good position, unmarked by any other player. Look at the looming problem that Sunderland have here. Ahmad and Mbeumo are again 2v2 on the wing, so it's super easy for them to make space with 1-2s to get an early cross in, or for one of them to get to the byline and cut it back. Xhaka is actually in the middle, marking this area for Bruno, and you have Alderete and Mukiele forming the back line in case there's an early cross that comes into the box. So Mount is still in tons of space right at the edge of the box here. As we play it along, Ahmad makes that really nice run to the back, which kind of forces Masuaku to think about who he needs to go with, and that creates this tiny amount of space for Mbeumo, who cuts inside and plays that lovely cross to Mount, and Mount kills it dead with his first touch, and his second touch is a goal. Now this goal right here is the opposite of what we've been doing so far this season, because it is a 0.16 xG shot with a 0.31 post-shot xG. So essentially, the chance quality is decent, a little bit higher than our average xG per shot this season, but the finish here is world-class. Time and time again this season, we've created much better chances than this one right here, but we have consistently failed to convert them. And Mount just put the team on his back with this goal because it was the key to opening this game up. I feel like you and me and everybody at Old Trafford was super tense watching this, not knowing what's going to happen. But this goal early in the first half gives us what we need to relax and take control of the game. So again, with this goal, I'm not here to criticize Cunha, but he should be taking notes from Mount on how to kill his chances from that position. We've seen Cunha be in almost exact that same position and hit the bar or hit it into a defender or shoot it wide. So it's up to Cunha now to show us something to win his spot over from Mount in the team, and I could not be happier about this dynamic. Our last clip for today looks at Mount's positioning and work rate because Amorim demands this from all 10 outfield players. And this is without a doubt the weakest attribute of Cunha's game because we actually saw Amorim yelling at him today for not tracking back in that second half. So here we have a bit of a 4-4-2 shape defensively with Mount and Diallo being the wingers and Mbeumo and Šeško up top. As we play it forward a bit, Mbeumo initiates the press against Alderete, who turns around and plays it safe to Mukiele on his right, and you see that right here. And you guys can't really see it, but Hume, who's their right back, is hugging the touchline on this side, and Mount is positioned perfectly between Mukiele and Hume, ready to pounce on a loose touch by either of them. As Mukiele receives this ball, Šeško decides to press him, and we see Lefebvre actually coming up into this position so that Mukiele has a pass available. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to Mount's movements as Lefebvre drops deep into this area. So Lefebvre comes deep, Mount actually doesn't move because it's Bruno's man, and Bruno comes forward to press Lefebvre, and Lefebvre tries to turn and is about to pass this forward into this area because Mount is marking Hume. Now, had Mount been rash and jumped in on Lefebvre here, Bruno and him would have both been in this area right here, so as soon as Lefebvre turned, Hume would have been an open pass, making it very easy for Sunderland to get into this pocket of space behind both of them. Instead, what happens here is Lefebvre has to play the risky pass into Traore up ahead of him, and Luke Shaw wins the ball quite easily. Bruno wins the ball back, plays it out to Casemiro, and now we have a counterattack against Sunderland, who again find themselves with 6 players in our box and scared shitless about what's going to happen. So if you're Matheus Cunha and you're watching this, you need to wisen up and get better at the defensive side of the game because Mount is executing Amorim's plans both with and without the ball much better than you right now. And we could really use someone like you being at your best to carry us through the rest of the season every single time you're called upon. What do you guys think? Do you agree with the 3 key points I made in this video about how Mount and Mbeumo are making the system work, about how Amorim is really bringing together his sporting philosophy into United now, and also about how Cunha needs to step up to the plate? If you're still watching the video, I want you to drop a hashtag MoTM in the comments below with your man of the match next to it, and also tell me if you found a little bit more faith in Amorim's system after that display. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.